So which one it's going to be this week, I don't know.
All right, we don't know which one it is, but what we do know is this announcement is going to be coming off the heels of CM Punk, of course, showing up backstage at Raw Monday night. PW Insider put out this very detailed account about how he was backstage for 20 minutes before he got asked to leave. In that time, spoke to The Miz. Looks like they buried the hatchet in some way. He had about a 2-minute conversation with Triple H where he asked for a quick meeting. And then Hunter said, I got to go ask the big guy, walked away to ask Vince. And to the best of my knowledge, never came back. And was at that time that Punk was asked to leave, which he did amicably after saying a couple goodbyes. So just kind of connecting the dots. Did Hunter go to Vince and was like, hey, Punk's here? And then Vince was like, you need to get him to leave. I don't know. That's how it reads to me. Am I wrong for thinking
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the people that I talked to did not know. They knew that he was asked to leave. Everybody knew, but they did not know, who made that call, whether it was Paul pretending it was Vince, whether it was Vince himself, whether it was somebody else. I mean, that was never made clear to me. The fact that he went to talk to him, I did know that. Yeah.
So what do you think? I mean, I saw Lance Storm weigh in and say he thought it was like this power play. I've heard a lot of different takes. I saw
there's a million takes, but the only one who knows is Punk, really. And I don't know that, he's going to tell you what it really is. I mean, I know, like, as it was happening, when the talent as it was happening in the WWE side was either he's playing one side against the other, because that's what you would jump into. But there's, what he really couldn't do that. I dismissed that because he's under contract for a long, long time. There's no playing one side against the other. It's, what I mean? He's not, and especially right now, as we all know, because of what's going on there with Collision and everything, he's not being released amicably this week. So that's like, I just threw that one out immediately. The other was, it's a publicity stunt. And it's like, I could see that. I don't think it is. Okay. But I can't dismiss that because it got publicity. And, if he was thinking about, like, what can I do to get publicity today, that'd be it. But I don't know that that's it. I don't even think it's it. But you can't dismiss that as a possibility, because if you're thinking, thinking about it and everything, the idea went in there and didn't think it would be news. I mean, I don't buy that either, because come on.
Do you know if Tony knew that Punk was going to be there or not?
I don't know if Tony knew. That's a really good question. And I don't know that, he would talk about that if he knew. I mean, he might, it's not like I'm not going to ask him, but it's one of those things that I probably won't get an answer to, although it's worth asking the question, I suppose. Yeah. But as far as the answer goes, I don't know. I don't know right now. Maybe I'll know in a day or two.
Well, and it's so weird, too, because FTR, Dax Harwood, just ran this playbook of teasing a WWE run and ultimately re-signing with AEW.
And he'd already signed by that point.
Right. But, but that's the thing, is like, it kind of, it's an easier narrative to believe, right, that there's something to this in the wake of them playing with these waters,
in a sense, the Dax Harwood thing was a publicity stunt to build up a match. Right. The match where they were going to leave if they lost. And so, and look, a lot, that's how wrestlers think, but that doesn't necessarily make it the story. But like I said, I couldn't dismiss that idea because, it's you're looking for publicity, but Punk doesn't really have to look for publicity. He kind of gets it no matter what he does.
Sure.
So I mean, and the timing of it is something, but it could be innocuous, but again, he knows what he was thinking. I don't know that he says it publicly, whatever it was, but I mean, you can always say that, like, it's just coincidence, it just happened to be in my city and I went, and just the timing of it is kind of like, well, it's been 9 years. They've been to your city multiple times every year, but it could, I mean, it could be just, hey, I'm turning over a new leaf and want to make amends to people. I mean, that's not preposterous either.
No, I don't think so either. I kind of just lean on that, knowing the guy seems to just be wanting to kind of not be the most hated person in the room at the moment, which is a very real human thing.
He should. There's things he can do, and maybe he'll do every one of them. I mean, as far as like him going, like from a fan standpoint, fans just want to see him back, and that's he'll be fine. I think he's going to come out to a great reaction in Chicago, and that aspect I think will be fine. Can he draw ratings at a good level on a show built around him on a Saturday night, and house shows on Saturday nights, or not house shows, but tapings on Saturday night every week? Remains to be seen. At first, I would say yes, and then down the line, it's like we don't know. We don't know what down the line is. No one knows, and and it's a big thing because, like, when he came on AEW, there was really no great pressure because they were already doing great at the time. So he's just jumping on something that was doing great, and his role was to make it even greater, and he did as far as business wise, right? But now it's not doing as it's a new show. It's not like the Wednesday show, which is doing good but not great. This show has got a lot of obstacles because Saturday night's a tougher night. The competition on Saturdays will be brutal, especially during college football season. But almost every Saturday night, there's going to be major sports. UFC's almost every week, although it's not major UFC's every week, but still, WWE's going to have pay-per-views against them, multiple times a year. So it's a very tough night, and for better or for worse, fair or unfair, if these numbers are not good, people are going to point the finger and say he can't draw. And it is unfair because there's so many obstacles to it. But he is, this one is more. This show is built around him a lot more than AEW Dynamite when he was on. Even though it was built around him, it was a whole cast of characters, and it wasn't going to be doing bad. Like there was no. He was in no jeopardy of being criticized for the numbers because the numbers were going to do well and they were going to do better with him. Now it's something that doesn't have as big of a base, and it could be it could end up as a giant hit. Could end up being in the middle, and it could even be something where you go like, oh man, the magic was gone.
Well,
we can see
a lot of things, obviously, like you say, happening here as Punk is working towards this return to AEW. A lot of things he's doing to kind of help make this thing possible. One of the things I wanted to ask you about was this Chris Jericho meeting with FTR and Tony Khan. Now, do you know if that meeting has already happened? Because
I heard that a report that it had, but I cannot. I think Wade Keller reported that it had.
Okay, I hadn't seen it anywhere yet, but I had also heard that it's already happened.
Yeah. I mean, I can't confirm that, but I think I'll probably know by tomorrow because if it happened, look, the AEW's a TV right now, right? Or because we're doing this Wednesday morning. By Wednesday night, it's gonna, all the talent's gonna know if it had or it hasn't. So it should be known by tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, from what I gather, I've heard it. I've got the impression that this thing has happened. I heard it kind of went well. I don't know
that's what Wade Keller reported. So
I have not seen Wade's report at all. So I did not know this until you broke it to me right now. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I expected it would. I mean, the meeting wasn't going to be a problem. It's the long term that's going to be the issue, and how it all breaks down. I never expected a problem at the meeting. I mean, because it's like everyone's going there to essentially. They all have the same goal in mind, which is let's build this company up. Now, and so it's in all of their best interest, if they are team players, to not start fighting at this meeting and to try to make whatever amends have to be made to get the team going in a positive direction. This is a really big summer for AEW. It's between this and the Wembley show and just turning around the ship a little bit, with a lot of obstacles in the way. So it's I mean, it's like it's very important. There's a lot of long-term ramifications, I think, of how AEW does over the next couple months.
So with the meeting with Jericho and Punk, and again, I don't know if this was covered in what Keller's report or whatever. I have it in front of me, but is this do we know if this was about them doing a program or was it more just about them sharing space? Because like the Elite and Blackpool Combat Club on Wednesdays make a lot of sense, and you're gonna have Punk over there on Saturdays. Another big elephant at the circus, like Chris Jericho, helping to kind of round out that roster would make a lot of sense to me. And it doesn't seem like he has the same heat with the Punk that the Elite does at the moment.
I don't know. I mean, I can't say that, but I mean, a Jericho Punk feud coming off of reality does make sense for Jericho and does make sense for Punk. I mean, more than, um, maybe not more than with the Young Bucks, but more than with anyone else but the Young Bucks and Omega, and almost the same, really, because Jericho, um, I mean, as far as what was said to talent, Jericho would be much more than the Young Bucks or anybody else as far as, that type of stuff. If they want to bring up reality, there's actually a lot more there. So if
Agreed.
Jericho's going to, I think Jericho's going to do what he thinks is best for business and his own business and everything like that. And it could be a big program. It's kind of like the Matt Hardy and Edge thing in very different way, but similar. And so I mean, it's certainly a possibility because, yeah, if I mean, Punk just standing there and doing nothing, that's not necessarily going to be a big hit. He needs someone to work with.
Right.
And the best guys would be the Young Bucks and Omega and Moxley, who we already know are going to stay on Wednesday. And then the other one is Jericho, and Jericho could, they move it. They need more than just CM Punk. I mean, they need another big star and lots of big groups, and so it does make sense. I will say that it does make sense for them to do a program.
You could always just run. You could run back MJF Punk again. Technically, I mean, if you wanted to just do it to put somebody with Punk that's not Jericho, that's the only real big name.
MJ. I mean, to me, MJF needs to be on both shows because if he's on one show only, I don't think that they should create a second world title like WWE did. I mean, even if most of the guys are going to stay on one show or the other, I think MJF needs to be on both.
So the blood
but
here,
yeah, but they say MJF and Punk, yeah, it has to be done.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing. It doesn't have to be Jericho. That's the thing. I get why it would work, but I don't know that personally those guys might be on the same page quite yet to make that work. But being on the same page enough to share a locker room, that seems much more within the realm of possibility to me. That's just me personally kind of reading the vibe. I could be wrong,
Yeah.
So there's this issue still between the Elite and Punk, right? That is seemingly still very heavy. From everything I hear, it's still very, very real, right? Especially with the Bucks and Punk. What happens when they need to do pay-per-views, Dave? And I know we're looking a little further down the road here, but there's a lot of
they need to do pay-per-views, and they both need to.
Punk and the Bucks exist in this? Can they be in the same building?
They're going to have to be in the same building, or I mean, at least at some point, they're going to have to be at the same building in Wembley. You're not going to do that show without. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, if Punk is with the company, he has to be on that show. If he's not with the company in August, then he doesn't have to be. And they don't need him on the show. But if he's with the company, he has to be on the show. If the Bucks are with the company, certainly Kenny Omega with the company, they have to be on the show. There's going to be pay-per-views. They have to all be on the show. So it's, I mean, it's going to have to be there, and they, are going to have to either accept it or, I mean, it's just going to have to be there. And then how, should they all work it out and be more amicable rather than just this festering thing?